There we go. Oh my, books are like search that too. Okay. Oh my goodness. Didn't think I was gonna get on this live at the rate I was going. Hello, hello. I am trying to get myself situated. Ah, hello, hello. Volume, lighting. All right, this is the best it's gonna get. Hello, hello. Welcome to Leap Taken. My name is Mika. I'm going to do my witchy review on this book, um, Witch Wisdom for Magical Aging. And, I thought this book might be a little special, and I was right. It is a really special, it's a really good book. It's a really good book because it takes the concept of two things: being a magical person, being a witch, and aging as a witch. And when they're talking about aging in this book, they're not just talking about like aging in general. I mean, it's specifically the crone phase that they're referring to and that they're talking about. And there's not enough out there talking about the crone phase. So let's just talk right there. I'm getting a message here. Let's move that out the way. Okay. Oh, I get distracted easy. Anyway, so Witch Wisdom for Magical Aging, Finding Your Power Through the Changing Seasons. So this book is broken up into winter, spring, summer, autumn. All right. So unlike other books that kind of break things up per season, it's not so much where it's more about talking to you as like the season itself, the witch of the season is talking to you. So I actually started from beginning to end. It started with winter, spring, summer, and then autumn. So coming to this, part where we are now was really cool. But I just want to read the introduction page, the magical invitation. I invoke the earth crone in her cave by the roots. So that's who's talking to you in the winter. Tending her cauldron, telling the old stories. I invoke the crone of air. That's going to be spring. Of feathers and soaring. She who hears songs and dry leaves whispering. She who calls down the crows to her hand. I invoke the crone of fire, summer. Fire in the body, fire in the mind, fire of freedom blazing. I invoke the crone of water, gentle, inexorable, inexorable, yeah. Washing it all away. Crone, your cloak swirls with winter's wind. Crone, your face is the map of your journeys. Wild woman, wisdom woman, teach us to age with your magic. I thought that was really beautiful, actually. This is the introduction, just one of the paragraphs to start with. Let me get these screens together so I can know what I'm saying. There we go. So yeah, old women are closer to the wild. We have learned so much, dreamed so much, done so much. Just having weathered life past the age of 50 is an accomplishment. Now, I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. Ooh, it's on my hand. Anyway, I'm not there yet. I've been doing a lot of different projects. I got stains on my nails. I haven't done my nails yet for that very reason. So forgive me because I do talk with my hands. For somebody who doesn't have their nails done, forgive me. Anyway, it's interesting when you really think about this whole aging thing. I've talked about this before. I posted a picture. If you belong to the Discord channel, Leap Taken, Safe Place for Witches, I posted a picture. A friend of mine said, "Hi, Gemstones." And she sent me a picture, and it was me, and this was the year 2005, right? And it was probably the early part of 2005, or yeah, winterish time, because I moved in February to Jacksonville in 2005, and my friend sent me that picture. It was me at a cubicle. I don't even remember the day, who took the picture. I don't remember the details, but I remember something started happening to me at that age, at that time, in that location, where I was just so overwhelmed with emotions. I do believe that there was a lot of things happening, but the way I sort of interpret it is that I cannot be in a cubicle. I cannot be in an office sitting in a gray cubicle, being a good worker bee. And I know there are people out there who's like, well, I don't want to do that either. And, that I just, that I got to pay my bills. And I totally understand that. But it felt like a mental health crisis for me, that if I did not leave that place, I didn't know I didn't know how much longer I wouldn't say I was suicidal. I've never been that, and I never really thought I would be someone who was, but at the rate that I was going, I probably would have entered more into that realm. And that comes with wisdom and aging. I understand it. I feel the same. Oh, okay, you get it. Yeah, I think I would have. It wasn't just because I didn't want to work in a cubicle. It felt everything about working in an office is just suffocating to me from a spiritual point of view, first and foremost, emotionally, and honestly, even physically. So, one of the things is people walk around with this sense of professionalism, which is just fakeness. It's weird, right? It's not human behavior. It's not that people, the whole thing about nice versus kind. They're being nice. They're not very kind people who work in offices. And that's okay. You don't really know these people, right? Then there's the situation where people who work there, your supervisors, management, and people who may not even be in management positions, but maybe want to be, they begin to align with the corporate principles and corporate philosophies and take on the identity of a corporate person in the corporation. So they're talking to you in a weird way where, you're trying to have a conversation and they're like, yeah, well, let's put a pin in that. And, they're using like corporate speak. Let's table that for later discussion. It's like, why are we? But I'm asking about something that's relevant. Like, what are we doing? Anyway, I'm going to go on a tangent about that. But the point is, I felt like during that time, like that, it would be quiet and I would hear like tapping, maybe some whispered conversations. And it was just like, distant conversations to people on phone, work conversations. And that quietness felt like loud. And I wanted to scream. I remember one time it got so bad, the urge to scream. I had to get up from my desk and I just walked outside. I was digging my nail into my like in my skin and my palm. I was doing like this to dig in because to stop the urge to scream. So yeah, I had some telltale signs that it was time to go. Then I landed a supervisor who was odd to say the least. I mean, I think she just had issues with me because she's a little older than me, and I know that some women have an issue with that. People were nice to me, male people, the males that work there were nice to me, will come to my desk sometimes and just have conversation. She did not like that. She actually made a comment like, we're grown people. You're telling people I can't talk. They can't talk to me because they're interrupting my work. Like, I'm grown. And at this point, I was like 30, 31, 31. Anyway, long story short, a combination of all of that made me crazy. I wasn't sleeping really at night. I was working on a couple hours every night. I just couldn't fall asleep. And an opportunity came and I took it to go off and be an independent consultant. And that picture has really just been kind of in my mind since yesterday when I saw it, or day before or whatever. And it just so much has happened since 2005. Like, so much has happened. And I look at that, I see me, I see myself, I see me as now, but also from a couple different perspectives that this book touches on. From a physical point of view, in my mind, I'm still her. Obviously, I'm not. But I wouldn't even say frustrating. It's confusing sometimes when I look in the mirror and I don't see her because I looked that way for a long time. Prior to getting to about 30, I looked about that way. And then over 30, I kind of always looked the same way. So now that I'm nowhere near 30, it's weird. It's weird, this aging thing. This book had has wonderful exercises to deal with that as well, with what looking in the mirror and getting accustomed to that. It's not that I have a problem with my face aging, it's just that there is this human confusion on who is this person that I'm looking at. I'm looking at a screen, I'm like, who is she? That's not me. That looks like, well, it looks like me, just older. Coming into that is humbling. And you learn, and this book talks about it, like to reject societal pressures to put Botox in your face. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've been thinking about it lately. So Botox, I got a couple places. My forehead, I don't, look, I'm cool with that. That's not an issue. For me, it would be like the here a little bit, a little here, a little something here, a little here, you see. But then my daughter says, Mommy, these deep creases means you smile, you're happy. See? So she's like, that means you're happy. You don't want to get rid of that. That's showing how happy you are. I was like, yeah, I want to do something with the under eyes though. I don't know if you can see. Like, just, I wear makeup obviously, but like, I just, to make it look a little, I don't know. And the word is not youthful, but I guess I want to say me. And I didn't think I was struggling with this, but I think I might be. This book came on time for me, kind of thinking about this. And it doesn't make me sad. It's more like just a state of confusion, because in my mind, I'm still that girl. Isn't that interesting how your mind does? So for anybody who is not far up in the age category that I'm at, let's say you're 30 and you're watching this, or young, just anywhere younger than me, you don't stop being you. You're still you. The you that makes mistakes, the you that maybe speaks out of turn, the you that's funny, the you that keeps up with the trends. You just, life is going on, you're getting older, but you're still like, oh, what are we wearing this fall? You're still like, oh, what are the girlies into? Like, you're still in the know, you're still happening, except that society sees you different now. Like, you're not supposed to be doing those things. You're not supposed to keep up with the trends. You're not supposed to be dressed a certain way or being in certain spaces because, oh, you're older now and you don't do this. And we know we have a lot of young people walking around thinking like this. My point is, I've really, this week, reading this book, seeing that picture, it just has brought up a lot of different things for me. And I was like, oh, this came right on time, because I really needed to sort of reconcile that with myself. I also lately, I saw a TikTok, and I'll get back to this book in a second, where it was a woman. I think she was like about 50-ish, early 50s. And she was talking about how someone posted a comment saying she was showing how to do makeup. And somebody said, but you still look 50. You don't, like, basically, why were you putting on makeup? You don't look younger. And she's like, well, I don't wear makeup to look younger. I wear makeup to look like the best version of me where I'm at right now. And I mean, I the same, this face, what's going on right now. Now back to the book, they talk about everything from your hair and from a magical perspective to your skin, face, body, wrinkles. And they talk about how to visualize sort of yourself and your clothes and, taking chances, even your space, like this, your home. I was really impressed with how thorough it is, and it's not long. It's only like 141 pages, but it's thorough. It's thorough. So a couple things I highlighted and I wanted to talk about, like they give a recipe to feed your hair. Because hair loss issues may not be an inevitable part of the aging adventure, though your hair care products might be the culprit. Now, I can tell you for certain that certain hair chemicals like relaxers, you have to be careful with hair dyes too, especially if you're bleaching. And that's tough for a lot of women who bleach and they do blonde. As you get older, your hair might be thinning. Like that's, and the alternative, it can't be to cut your hair short. First of all, knock on wood, I'm my IKEA wood here. Aren't you guys glad that like the days of, oh, you're older, you have to cut your hair are gone? I'm growing my hair, and this is a journey. This is also this is an act of rebellion and freedom for me as I'm aging. She talks about this as well for the older the crones who dye their hair these like colors you don't really see in nature, pastel pinks and greens and things like that. And how do whatever. I love the author, how she talks about it. There's a part where she's talking about like feeding your body and basically trying to avoid the sugary carbs and salty foods that are not really suiting us. And then she just adds at the end, however, if you at a point in your life you don't want to avoid those things, you don't care, then go ahead, do it. I'm like, thank you. Because if you're talking to someone 50 and up, 50, 60, 70, ma'am, let me just eat my salty food and let me go. Like I've leave me alone. I'd like to try it because she also quoted a woman she said she spoke to who was 104 and said she takes a shot of whiskey every morning. So do with that what you will. A lot of it is genetics, social, your environment, stress, and absence, in my opinion, of love. Or if you have an abundance of love in your life. Love doesn't have to be romantic. Do you have a best friend? Do you have community? Do you have church friends? For old folk, the people at the church, the people at the, wherever they might meet, they're people they've known for years, their siblings, their spouse. You need a community as you get older. You need some people, at least a person, but you want to have a community as you age because spouses die, They talk about that statistically as women. Come on. They usually go before we do. So you're going to want community. So that adds to longevity. Obviously, if you movement, moving your body, not necessarily just about weight and all that sort of stuff. It's more to do with you have to in strength training because that whole bone density thing is real. Like you got to keep your body in motion so that and also for balance. So walking, squatting, doing certain things like that, bending over to pick something up and coming back up again. Sitting down on the floor, kneeling, like all those sort of things throughout the day. It seems like it's nothing, but those things will help you be more stable and more balanced so that you're not prone to falling. If you are always laying or sitting down and you don't have mobility issues other than you just maybe tired, you're just not doing it, as we age, it's important to keep moving. She talks about this. This is actually a very real thing, and there's a magical component added to it. But she's talking. This is foods for healthy hair. Let me get back to this: eggs, berries, spinach, fatty fish, sweet potatoes, avocados, nuts, seeds, and seaweed. I'm good with all these things, so this works out for me. If I was reading this, so I've started. Well, I don't want to say I started, but I've been very intentional about some of the foods that I was eating. Like today, I cooked like a seared tuna steak and a big old salad with like this orange sesame dressing, and just some raw carrots off to the side. The baby carrots, just a little handful off to the side, because I was going to do rice. I was like, or I could do a root vegetable instead. And get that fiber, and that's good. The chewing of that, you'll feel satiated. So anyway, After reading this, I was like, yeah, because they were like, get the dark leafy greens in your body. Anyway, I'm influenced. Anything to do with longevity and living longer, listen, I'm in that crone phase. I think, what is the crone phase? What, 50? So I'm almost there. uh Herbs to support your hair, so you can take them in capsules. Ginkgo biloba, rosemary, I know about that, and peppermint, aloe vera, horsetail, burdock, and stinging nettle. I have all these things except for stinging nettle. But you can also, she's talking about, you can also do things like taking these herbs and, infusing them in oils, doing scalp massages, hot oils, and stuff like that, to help with your hair as we age. So this is like that sort of stuff. And there's a whole section called Getting to Know Your Bones. Getting to Know Your Bones. And this exercise is really out there, but she's like, just for fun, take some time to imagine what your skull looks like. I'm not really interested in doing that part, but if you're interested, it's in here. Hey, witches, this is info I need. Although black hasn't cracked on me, Robinson, it do eventually be crack. I'll put it to you like this: not cracking, but there are signs. I saw something yesterday. It's like, you're reading something, you're doing something, and the universe is showing you a bunch of other stuff. But someone was talking about how they used to make fun of their aunties and their grandmother and their mom as they were, on how dry their feet were. It's like, why are your feet so dry? It's like older people. It's like, why are your feet so dry? These are some of the things that start to happen that don't really seem like they make sense. Like, so part of aging is me just having dry feet. I live in a desert, so I already feel like I'm constantly fighting the dry air with hair, skin, everything, right? My eyes, I'm walking around, I'm supposed to be doing drops because my eyes are red a lot. I don't smoke. There's no smoke. I mean, I cleanse, but I open the windows. It's because of this dry air. So it is the dry feet. I am so diligent more than I don't think I've thought. I have to have a freaking skin routine for my feet. We're there now. Like, it goes beyond just a pedicure. There has to be a thing that I'm doing almost nightly or daily, actually day and night, because this has become a thing. And I'm trying to think, but did I ever have to work this hard in my life at like moisture on my feet? No, this is where I'm at now. So these are the things that happen. So face card not declining, but your feet are. Like, that's where we are now. It's like, it's not all at once. It's like one by one something starts changing on you. Not my favorite. Anyway, but I do think where I messed up, believing black don't crack, and that I can worship the sun without sunscreen living in Florida, is I have on concealer, but I have these little freckly spots, and it's sun damage. It's not just cute freckles, it's sun damage from going to the beach and not having a lick of sunscreen on. Silly mistakes that I've made in my life. Speaking of, I highlighted this section here. She says, write an ode to the texture of your skin and see if it doesn't change the way you feel about it. So I'll have to write an ode to my feet that I have to basically keep moisturized at all times. Otherwise, it's a warm climate. I don't wear, I wear sandals and flip-flops and stuff like that when I go outside. Like, I can't have dried feet. Ugh. I think specifically as a black person, we don't do that whole ashy thing. Like, you're not going to catch me slipping out there like that. Anyway, she gives some simple moisturizing cream recipes. Coconut oil is okay, I guess, but it's like 1 part almond, grapeseed, jojoba, or olive oil, 1 part coconut oil, 1 part beeswax beads or chopped up. And then a simpler moisturizer where she's using some of the other stuff, except you're adding shea butter. And then I like the pumpkin moisturizer. Pureed pumpkin makes a good skin treatment. and it's perfect for witches. Just apply a few tablespoons to clean skin, leave it on for a few minutes, and then rinse. Avocados, I know, work like that as well. So some really interesting things. So that's just in the first part of the book where she's talking about the root witch. The root witch is in the winter. Gratitude for your body. I love this. She says you may want to try this gratitude practice while you take your daily walk. I need to be taking a daily walk, but that's another thing. Thank you for my breathing. Thank you for my walking. Thank you for my digestion. Thank you for my senses. Thank you for this body. Thank you for this wonderful body. Thank you for this sacred body. Yeah, that's something she's suggesting. Who are you thanking? That's up to you. She never gets into like a specific deity or anything like that in this book. Think about everyday choices you make. Even the smallest ones can make a difference when we're talking about sustainability as well. I feel like, honestly, in most was considered ethnic households, there is already a lot of sustainability practices, indigenous cultures. That's kind of built in. There's certain, you recycle containers, plastic containers. We even talk about, the kids now make jokes about how at your grandmom's house, like that old country cock or like the butter containers, plastic containers, have been used indefinitely. And how the old tins that, cookies would come in, your grandmom kept that, and you as a kid wanted it to be cookies, but it was like sewing stuff or buttons or something in there. I used to be disappointed as a child as well. But yeah, plastic bags, we don't really get rid of them. I have my own personal stash. I'm not as crazy, I'm not as far gone as I could be. But I do have a stash of plastic bags. I do. Reusing all of a product, refilling it, the bottles back up. Like, these things are things that people do. I mean, some people, if money is tight, I mean, you're doing a lot of sustainable things because you kind of have no choice, right? So I feel like I'm pretty good on the sustainability stuff, but there's always room for more. Then there's a whole section, we're still in winter right now, where she's talking about dreaming into your wisdom years, talking about, it being harder to finding it difficult to sleep, and restorative sleep is what she was talking about. But here's an interesting thing. She says, did you know that when you're deeply asleep, a secreted growth hormone encourages the liver to produce a substance that heals the little injuries of each day? A busy cycle of internal healing operates while we're unconscious. I'm convinced that the spirit too needs deep rest to reduce its habitual overdrive. You think about it. You know how sometimes, like, as you get older, like, and this is happening, it starts in your 30s, where your brain's racing at night. The world is on you. It's like you thought you were just going to go to sleep, and as soon as it's quiet, as soon as it's time to like go to sleep, you're like thinking of all the things you have to do, the things that are expected, the obligations, the things that your kids have to do, your husband, the appointments, the state of the world. You start thinking of celebrity gossip. Like, it's a bunch of stuff just comes to you, and you're like, how do I shut this off? Well, you need to in order to get that restorative sleep. And then for some of us, the phone, you got your phone, you are scrolling on apps and all that sort of stuff is really not great. But she gives some tips to promote sleep. I won't go through all of them, but I think some of them are pretty good. She talks about taking melatonin, so that's to put in perspective. I'm gonna tell you right now, and I'm gonna say take a little something else. I'm not a smoker, but I would say take an edible indica and take that, I say about an hour before it's time for you to go to sleep, at least an hour or so. Yeah, that'll do it. That'll help you. So I love this. The gifts of earth can help you rest and sleep. And then she gives, hi Empress Goth. She gives like a recipe for root witch sleep pillow, soothing bedtime baths. And then there's something I highlighted because it stood out to me. It says, unless you die young, you will get old. I feel like we need to keep telling people this. For the people who yell out, oh my God, isn't she like 40? And why is this only at women? Isn't she like 40? Why is she still talking, or why is she still doing this? I'm repeating something I heard about people on social media talking. It's like, oh my gosh, she's 40. Why is she talking? Why is she arguing with me? I'm only 20. But anyway, yeah, you're going to get old unless you die. So there's no point in calling out people's ages if it's a problem. And the other thing I wanted to go ahead, yes, so that was the winter. And then the next section is spring. So it's a bunch of different exercises you can do, recipes. So like this is the kind of book you sit through and read through, yes, but there's some stuff that you can actually do as well. I love these little poems in the beginning and the artwork. There's actually the color. I didn't realize that until I was reading it. But these are the color portions of each of the sections. I think the artwork is really cool. So this is Winter Root Witch. So she's underground. And then you have here, this is Spring Wind Witch, and this is Summer Mer Witch. Isn't that nice? And then Autumn Kitchen Witch. So I just want to skip ahead and let you guys see that. But this is where she talks about the home, feathering your nest, your soul nest, she says it. I love this. Listen to these cool ideas about, my nose is, allergies. Oh, I was burning some herbs. I'm like, what is getting to me? Me, I did it. Some ideas for inventing your own style. Choose to wear the colors your soul craves. For me, one of my favorite colors is pink and black. And some blues. And I notice my wardrobe reflects that. I have on something blue now. But I will probably add some pink accents. Accessories. So make peace with your body shape, whatever it is, and dress to feel strong, at home, and comfortable in it. Duh. But, when you're somebody who, if you are someone who follows the trends a little bit, well, one, you probably know how to dress yourself with your body, but your body's changing. One of the things that happens, which kudos to the women who figured it out, or genetically speaking, they hit the lotto, but the midsection is, I'm not really a big person, but that weight, any weight, this, where am I at? Perimenopausal weight? I'm not in menopause. I'm perimenopausal. I'm not there yet, but it's all in the tummy. It's all in the tummy and the chin. Green, black, and blue for me. There you go. And the chin for me. But because of that, I know my angles and I know how to dress now. But you kind of have to be in a place of acceptance for all this. I told you, you don't think it's going to be, we think a lot of things. I know I did. But all of a sudden, I'm telling you, like, you're trying to do what you've always done. And it don't look right no more. It don't make sense anymore. The way I do my makeup, it had to change because my face has changed. The clothes options changed because I got more tummy. So I dress around that differently. But like what I have on now, I like these flowy outfits. So this works for me. Pick a period in history that appeals to you. Isn't that wonderful when you get to the part in your life where and this happens for most of us as we get older, you don't care what everybody has to say about what you got on. You don't care anymore, right? And I love that she talks about that. So if you want to do vintage, if you want to dress futuristic, you went to a Renaissance concert, you was like, you know what, as it turns out, this is who I'm going to be going forward. Some sort of space cowboy, cowgirl witch aesthetic, go off. It should do it. And then she says, also taking, what is your ethnicity? Do some research. Find clothing pieces that resonate with your ancestors or that feed your soul. So some sort of, if you belong to an indigenous culture and you want to express that, it feels right, then do it. Fairy tales, myths, tarot cards, goddess lore can all be rich sources of costumey clothing ideas. So I agree. For sure. Look at the wonderful weirdness and diversity of nature for clothing ideas. So that's another one. Um, be sure to keep comfort in mind. So, like, yeah, you could be doing your looks, but your fabric choices, cottons, satin, silks, whatever feels good on your skin, keep that in mind as well. And then she says, if you have passionate political or spiritual beliefs, you can wear t-shirts that proudly proclaim this. That be me. My t-shirts, I keep a t-shirt that's telling you I'm a witch or something. So that is I'm already there with that. So that's not a problem for me. So there's exercises called the soul outfit that you can do. It involves a lot of envisioning, kind of meditation type stuff. But then there's a section on adding magic to your clothes. So she's saying, for centuries, witchy women celebrated the magic of green growing things by adding herbs, flowers, and spices to their drawers and closets to keep moths away, and to add an extra aura of sweet sorcery and beauty to their clothing. And she's saying you can, a little pouch under your, you could sew something in, or a little pouch, or keep it just in the garment in the pocket or something. But if you're going for romantic energy, dried roses, lavender, carnations, refreshing, dried lemon peel, orange peel, peppermint, healing, basil, marjoram, mugwort, sage, thyme, spicy, exotic, cinnamon, cloves, dried ginger, nutmeg, star anise, and woodsy, dried juniper needles, pine needles, and sandalwood pieces. Listen to this fun fact. Traditional wise women who wanted to feel more loving and lovable would dust their intimate apparel with dried orris root made from the roots of the iris flower. You might want to try this yourself. Look online for reputable suppliers. So boom, you trying to feel love. You want to be a little more lovable and loving. There you go. So this is spring. Let me see if there was anything else. And then she goes into this whole thing about the energy of your home. That made sense. Paring down, because having a bunch of old stuff that you've collected, especially for me, my kids are grown. My son lives on his own. Well, he's in, the Air Force. He lives on his own. He's living his own life. My daughter is she's oldest. She lives on her own, but we live together. We're the Gilmore Girls over here. That's what's happening in my house. If you were listening, you might struggle on whose role is what sometimes here. I'll just say that. So she very much has her independence. Here, I'm not that. I always joke and say I'm one of my daughter's little friends, or she's one of my little friends. How does that go? I'm not one of your little friends. Yes, I'm one of her little friends. Yeah. So anyway, there's a fun all-purpose magical elemental quiz. I'm sorry. So she says the 4 elements, earth, water, fire, and air, can be great source of inspiration when it comes to feathering your nest. This whole thing is about a bird for the spring. So here's an elemental quiz to see which element suits you best, or which element you're lacking and need most. Find a time and place where you won't be disturbed and answer the following true or false questions. No need to overthink. Just go with your first impulse and have fun with it. So let's do this quiz, shall we? You can find out for yourself. So section A, if these things are true. So I'm gonna mark down yes or no for myself. I got my notepad, and I'm committed. My central perk notepad, which is like a waitress receipt, because I like things. Anyway, so section A. All right, you ready? Hear this. So there's 4 sections, A, B, C, and D. We're in A. So true, false. I love to cook, garden, or tend let me start over. I love to cook, garden, or tend my companion animals. True or false? Sometimes true. I'm going to say true for me. All right, next, in the same section. A sense of safety at home is very important to me. Yeah, duh. Yeah. I tend to be slow to anger and I'm generally calm. False. I listen to the messages my body gives me. That's true. I love the woods. See, I want to say yes. I do love them. I have a healthy respect for nature. So I'm going to say true. I prefer greens and browns. Prefer over other colors? Not necessarily. I'm going to say false. I don't prefer, I like those colors, but I don't prefer them over other colors. So section B. So I got true, true, false, true, true, false. So section B. So this is going to come into a couple different things. So section B, true or false. I have very strong feelings. Yeah. I listen with my heart. True. People tend to tell me their troubles and trust me. True. I create things that express deep emotions. Sometimes. True. I love the ocean, rivers, ponds, lakes, or streams. True. And then I prefer shades of blue. I do prefer shades of blue. So that's true down the board for me. So let's get into section C. I am a very active person, a real doer. See, I think I am, but I beat myself up because I don't feel like I'm doing enough. I feel like I'm having an existential crisis over this question. I'm going to say true for now. Okay. The spotlight suits me. Yeah, I'm good with that. I have abundant energy to get things done. Technically, yes. We're not going to overthink these. I like being in charge of groups of people. It's not that I don't dislike it. It's just that I feel like even if I'm not, I make a subgroup and I automatically become the leader. So we'll just say true. I don't even know why I'm like this. I just do. I love hanging out beside bonfires, campfires, or fireplaces. Yeah, who doesn't? That's a good time. I actually really enjoy that. I prefer reds, oranges, and yellows. I mean, I do like those colors, but prefer... see, I feel like the red, the pinks are somewhere is like a version of that. So maybe I should say true. And then finally, section D. So let's see. So far, I got true all the way down. So then you know what? I'm going to say false to the color question because I really don't prefer oranges. I like orange, but I don't prefer. So I'm going to say no. So section D. So I got all true, one false. Section D. I love to talk things out with people. I do. That's how I work through problems. Reading and writing are both important to me. Are they not to others? True. I enjoy being inspired and learning new things. True. I'm good at visualizing ideas and concepts. Definitely true. I love expansive scenic views. I do. And then I prefer pastel shades. I do not prefer pastel shades, actually. Pink, that's about it. I don't like pastels that much. Okay, so that's going to be tough. So I'll just say false. Now count up your true answers. If you had mostly trues for section A, you're an earth person. More trues for B, then you're a water person. More trues for section C, you're a fire person. And then D, which is section D, that means you're an air person. Because I just said true to everything. I feel like I made but honestly, the one section that there's all true is section B, which would put me as a water person, which I find very fascinating because I'm working with that ancestral grimoire book, and one of the ancestors I'm working with wants to show me things with water. The element, water as an elemental with magic and things like that. And I've always been called to water, so that might make sense. So with that being said, using that elemental quiz on the previous page, it says, So you can find ways to approach cleaning that fit your dominant element, because the whole section was like, you don't want to have junk in your house. Favorite Addams Family line, Mika pastels. Yeah, pastel. Oh, I hate that. Or it's like, well, I don't like it. Anyway, so because I'm a water not sign, but my dominant element is water. They said sing while you clean 10 things with love. So I can do you one better. I will blast music and I will sing. So that makes sense for me. Now, let's say you had more earth. You're the earth element. If you have more answers in that first section, true. Think of your house as a garden and cleaning as weeding. Buy or make new cleaning tool or product. Make a new cleaning tool or product. So that's the earth. So section C, which the fire, drink coffee, put on dancey music, get energized. Well, since that part, I had a lot of that makes sense. And then air, make a list or plan for your cleaning. Read something that inspires you to clean. So on that note, since I had a bit of the water, fire, and air, I would sing 10 to things with love. So I'm having walking around kind of feeling like in a space of gratitude, like, wow, I get to live here. Oh, these things are really nice. I remember when I didn't have stuff like this. Kind of keeping that in the front of your head. I'm still going to drink the coffee and I'm going to put on dancing music to get energized, as she says. And then air, make a list. Yeah, I do like to have a list of everything I'm going to clean and check it off as I go. Instead of reading something that inspires me to clean, I will put on a YouTube video where someone is cleaning their house, and then that would inspire me. But yeah, cleaning can be a ritual. It can. I'll be honest with you. I'm tired of cleaning all the time. The number one thing that's getting on my nerves is the kitchen. As soon as you clean the kitchen, you will have to clean the kitchen again. As long as you have something to drink or eat, you have to clean that kitchen again. It's inevitable. You eat more than one time a day. Even if you eat out, there's something that's in that sink. It's always something. It's a never-ending cycle. I've been around longer than a lot of people that might be listening to me. Let me just tell you, it gets to be a lot, y'all. It's a lot. And I was always responsible for cleaning. For the brief moment my kids got older and they would take turns with the dishes. I got used to that. And then they grew up and I don't do that anymore. Oh, you watch YouTube too, Empress Golf to clean? The kitchen is just a pain in the butt. It's not like it's hard. It's not gross because I don't live gross. It's just I don't feel like touching the dishes. And I got a dishwasher. And a lot of people don't get that. If you don't have a dishwasher, you're thinking, oh, shouldn't I make it easier? You have to unload it. So you got to touch every dish, every spoon, fork, knife, lid, bowl, plate, saucer, pan that's in there one by one. Put them all away at the various places in the kitchen. And then you have to now rinse off and put in the dirty dishes. Run that. Hopefully you don't dirty anything up while you're running the dishwasher because you will have more dishes in your sink. By hand, I might have to get somebody, I don't know, somebody might have to come see about me if I got to wash them by hand. Knock on fake IKEA wood. I grew up, I did not have a dishwasher as a kid growing up. And I did not leave home till I was like, 19? 20? I was the dishwasher. I was the dishwasher. I've paid my dues. I'm done with that. I've paid my dues. So, yes, elemental recipes and activities, by the way. So, me being the water, let me see, where was that at? Oh, sacred water recipe. What did she say? Use ordinary tap water. Add a few pinches of sea salt. Use your fingers to stir. Set the intention that this is now sacred water. Oh, you dip your fingers in the bowl repeatedly. Flick them at the floor or walls as you walk around the house. Has anybody ever done that before? Where you're saying so you hand wash. Yeah. Where you do the water cleansing. I've done that. All right, not done. I do. Sometimes I like to add additional herbs to the water, salt, but just in a pinch, literally just some salt, stir it around, and then, sprinkle. It's about time actually that I do this again, so it's a good reminder. But yeah, creating your spirit house. There's a whole section on that. I love. She has a lot of writing, journaling type stuff that you could do as well. Um, oh, I love this. There's some good quotes in here. The path of becoming an elder, a crone queen, a wise one, isn't always smooth, but with the support of loving and empathetic community of true friends, it can be more of a shared adventure. And this is the part where I know to be true. People who have community, and we live in new times. So community, ideally, it would be nice if they're in person. But please know that if you're not in a position to meet people because you live across the country, those people, but if you regularly meet with them and you guys are talking, you look forward to it and they do too, that's community, that counts. Just because back in the day they didn't have this type of technology doesn't take away from real human connections that are made online. So keep that matters. So that's spring. And I wanted to talk about summer next. So this is the art for summer. Mirror Witch Wisdom from the Seaside Bonfire. Here's the black and white picture of the Mirror Witch. Listen, chant of the Mirror Witch. Sacred fire burn bright in your heart, in your soul. Light the bonfires of the night. Dance with me beside the sea. Let my blazing set you free. I love the poetry. I'm not really a big poetry person, but this it's hidden. So remember the elemental quiz. So they're talking about your elemental creative type in this section. So which one sounds the most like you? Does it match the results of your elemental quiz? So air or water. Attributes: emotional, empathetic, compassionate, fluidly expressive, capable of exploring deep emotions through creativity and many strong feelings. Yeah, I'd say so. Helpful for water types. Listen to emotional music. Look at lots of art. Doodle, daydream. I agree. If your water is out of balance, you may feel raw and overly sensitive or easily overwhelmed. Yeah. Try earplugs to limit your sensory input. Drink relaxing herbal tea. Take a sea salt bath. Yeah, I can work with that. I can do it. Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes it does, like the noise of everything. Like people I love and I want to talk to. Sometimes I can't do it right now. It's not them. It's definitely me. Like just too much. I feel like sometimes it's too much. I feel all the feels, and I need a minute to come down from that. Especially in a line of work that I'm in. Where I talk to people and I'm providing them information, and because I do care, and I have to keep this boundary, but that is work, having a boundary in place. I feel me keeping the boundary there. I can feel the energy. Like it's not a lot, but I feel it. So I'm doing my work, but I also feel this. And the deeper and the more I'm connected to the person that I'm working with, for especially like with readings, like I feel it. So yeah, I have to, one of the things, water, baths, well in my case showers, but making the spiritual bath, but I use it in the shower. Those are very important to me, to cool this fire sign down, to bring kind of level all that stuff out. That's really important for me. Consuming water, drinking those herbal teas, like that's helpful to me as well. Let me see in this section. Ooh, banishing inner vampires. And she says, what are the habits that drain your creative life force? This is something you could be thinking about now. I don't care how old you are. And what can you do about them? Here are a few thoughts. Wasting time in front of a screen. You looking at a screen right now. Figure it out after I'm done talking. Trying to be all things to all people. Well, y'all know that's a problem. And then inner troll, low self-esteem, having an inner troll. Let me tell you something. I have to catch what I'm saying to myself. My thoughts to myself sound crazy. Like, nobody would actually, I would never allow someone to talk to me that way. If they did, I would never talk to them again. You know, I'm like, you know what, say some stuff back to them and I would never talk to them. But yet I'm saying, I'm capable of saying that to myself. And then I'm like, cross the line. Like, don't call yourself that. Don't refer, so it's something, yeah, we all got to work on. And I don't necessarily know. I mean, I guess it's a component of having low self-esteem, although I don't see myself as that way. I feel like it's not something you master and you're done, because you're always changing. The outer appearance is always changing. As you get older, hopefully how you see the world changes. You shouldn't be the same forever. So along with these iterations of self, your esteem has to kind of, what's the word, recalibrate based on this new version of self. So it's not a one and done with self-esteem. Don't have low self. Don't think having low self-esteem is the worst thing. You could be going through a phase also where especially if you've gained a lot of weight or if you lost weight, if you're sick and your outer appearance is not what you are accustomed to presenting with, you might feel insecure about that. Like, I don't know. I don't like when people go into this thing about low self-esteem like it's such a horrible character trait and you're like a horrible person or something for not having high self-esteem all the time. That's addressing the inner vampire. And then she talks about transforming vampires, and then this section on sensual loving and living. So, and she's blunt. I love this author. Her name is Kate Johnson. By the way, that's who wrote this book. And she says, listen to this. You live in a culture that, as writer and artist Rosalind Sophia Brillat says, quote, fears femaleness, intimacy, honesty, sexuality, truth, love, aging, and death. To state the painfully obvious, end quote, by the way, to state the painfully obvious, in your world, a woman loses her value as a sex object after menopause, while a man can still be a silver-haired stud until he dies. Yeah, unfortunately. Your culture is wrong about so many things, but one cultural belief that makes me want to spit sparks, I'm going to use that from now on, I want to spit sparks, is that only young women can be sensual or sexual. Let me tell you, if you ever wanted to know, just don't ask me how I know, but I do know. In the world of looking at erotica and things of that nature, there is an entire section for MILFs and GILFs. So it's not, and they make money. Y'all, we good. It don't stop. And then I loved, this author is so just welcoming and opening to wherever you are, whatever stage you're in, because there's more information. And she goes on to say, of course, you may be glad to be done with sex, to be free of the craving you had for when you were 20 or 30 or 40, and that's just fine. I'm thinking, well, we could add 50 in there too, because I know a lot of 50-year-olds, they still get down like that. So I don't know, but that's what I've been hearing. So I would say 20, 30, 40 or 50, but to each their own. And actually I know some 60-year-olds too, so I don't know about this, but apparently for some people they decide to cut it off and be done with it. And then she goes on to talk about self-love initially, and then it gets more into the sensuals, the senses, and tapping into that. And I love this. When you stop desperately trying to be pretty to catch the male gaze, to prove how sexy you are, to be a good little object of desire, you go free. You become the keeper of your body, the keeper of your pleasure, and the keeper of yourself. I do believe I'm there. However, when everything from the way I wear my hair to the lipstick, the color choices, everything I have on, it is definitely for me comfort, mobility, style that I find appealing. It is not. I'm definitely not at the point where I'm trying to intentionally catch the male gaze. And by the way, you could be married or in a relationship, and y'all know what I mean. Women, they're out there. It's the things they do is for the male gaze. It's not that I don't want to be attracted to the male gaze. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going out of my way to not be, but I'm also not centering how I look to them. Yeah. So she goes on to talk about if you're in a partnership and some tips and stuff like that, regular date nights, experiment with the erotic. You gotta get the book to go on into that. Give each other a massage. And then she gives a recipe for a sensual massage oil. There's a section on if you're single, pornography versus erotica, sacred sex, and know your issues. Whole section, so get into it. Now, I just did a video this past week, and she talked about the fire of anger as your ally. Your culture teaches you that nice women don't get angry, and if you do, you're labeled a bitch. We know this, right? But anger can be powerful. Anger can be a powerful and positive force for change. I just talked about that 100%. Anger can be a positive catalyst for what ought to happen as well. So then she goes on to talk about something called the clean burn and freedom. It just goes on. And then finally we're in the autumn section and kitchen witch wisdom from the river cottage. I love the autumn. I love all this book, by the way, but the autumn section, because I guess we're here now, so I'm thinking about it. Listen to this. Tell me, Goddesses Age 2. I still like it. And I'm in my later 60s. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for saying that, by the way. Goddess-loving women deserve older role models of fierceness and strength. I'm going to repeat that. Goddess-loving women deserve older role models of fierceness and strength. Right? That's why I think I'm so, at this later point in my life, I'm drawn to working with Hecate. She lists some, Yamaye, Hestia. Hestia as well, Yamaye for sure. These are primordial, some people say primordial goddesses. So yeah, they're older. They're elder. I like working. Those are role model goddesses for me. Honoring your own harvest, seeing your life as a garden. There's a whole section and exercise to do for that. Like, this book has a lot of thought-provoking concepts and things around aging and being a witch or a magical person. Then she goes on about this, your legacy. And I like that, how your legacy might be tangible or it might be abstract. So if it's tangible, like your recipes, thinking about the legacy, things you're leaving after death. Your formula for a magic healing salve or something like that. The embroidered dress you made for a beloved niece. And then the more abstract is if you've taught workshops or led rituals, then give some thought to the magical lore and knowledge you want to pass along to your younger ones, things like that. I like this section because, again, it gets you to thinking, Another form your legacy might take is the gift of your life story. So keep that in mind, because as we age, we have a lot of information, a lot of knowledge. Consider recording the story of your life on tape. Don't you wish a grandparent or great-grandparent had done this so you could benefit from their experience? I do. I have questions. I have someone in my family is our family genealogist, and he is quick to share his findings. And that's good. And there's a lot of things he's uncovered that are just like really mind blowing. And not everything is going to be good, but there are people. There are people. They're people you're related to, and sometimes, they didn't do things you would hope they didn't do the things that they did, but they did. But I want to hear their story. I want to hear why. What was the why? And even if I don't understand it completely, I just want to hear. I wish I could hear it or read it. So yeah, that'd be great. That'd be good. Um, in 50 years, there will be people who would appreciate knowing more about your life and what it was like to be living in these times. And boy, do we live in some times. Let me tell you something. Write in y'all journal, write down, because people will wonder. You know how we look back in the day, especially when you were younger, and these world events were occurring. You're like, well, I used to always think being a kid, well, what was everybody else doing? Like as I got older, I really started thinking about that, and I would ask my mom, like, well, wait, you were alive during that time. What were you doing? And she was like, I was a kid. My mom had me young. So she was like, I was a kid myself. I mean, it's not much I could do. I was listening to what, thinking the grown-ups are going to handle situations. So like world events and things like that. I remember asking her like, wait, did Malcolm X ever come to like South Jersey where we grew up? She's like, because that means he would have went to Philly. And I imagine at some point he did. But she was like, we heard like whoever she was with, she was like, we didn't really seek to that per se. We weren't against it, but like, it's interesting how what you think just took over the nation, and everybody was in, listening, or they were there, and other people's like, no, it never. But that's like right now, there's certain things that will seem like it was so dominant during these times, but maybe not for me in my everyday. So, I love this section. Lay your burdens down. Take some time to honor what you've been through. Was it easy? No. Did you survive it? Yes. Will it feel freeing to lay the old painful burdens down? Probably. That's the kind of calm wisdom you get. So, then depending on your elemental quiz results, so for water, this is what you do. Rip your list into very small pieces and send it off down the nearest river or stream, or flush it down the toilet. Sing a song while doing so. We're gonna flush those problems down the drain. Okay, I don't know. That's mine. So let me see. What was my other section here? Oh, of course, coming in autumn, making peace with Mother Death. There's even a little poem. Crow feathered dark one, bone beneath skin, our loving abuela to heal and take us in. So our culture doesn't do well with death, although the hospice movement goes a long way toward healing our relationship with it, keeping people comfortable rather than subjecting them to hopeless and uncomfortable heroic measures, often making it possible for a person to die at home, surrounded by loved ones. I remember one of my great aunt, well, my only great aunt right now that died. I remember she passed away some years ago, and I believe it was a form of cancer that she had, and it's like stomach cancer, from my understanding. So she, I don't know the exact, but it wasn't like, here's the thing, I was younger and I didn't ask a lot of questions, and of course now I really wish I did. When you're younger, you don't think, because you think it's not going to happen. This is not something you got to be concerned with. This is an older person issue. But anyway, so she did die. She was in the medical field. She was a nurse for years and retired from it, did well with that. She did not continue with a bunch of treatments that I do know. She didn't do all that sort of stuff. She went out on her terms. Her hospice was home. Well, not even her home. It was at her son's, her children's home, adult children. And she died there on her terms. And let me tell you something. There's something to be said for that. Being in health in that, being a nurse, she had to have obviously made peace with the concept of that she had already buried her husband and a brother. Let me tell you, I can't imagine with that. But she basically showed to me, like, she has come to me through the ancestral realm, especially around Samhain. She's one of the first set of people that I talked to, of family members that I knew, elders or ancestors that I knew. So yeah, she was impactful in my life, by the way. she, to me, I used to always say she was the aunt that kind of taught me what a lot of people when I was coming up would say, "Oh, you're so bougie." Like, why are you talking that way? Why do you act that way? It was her. She did that to me. She gave me that finishing school, that etiquette on going to a restaurant, and she would take the time. It wasn't like lessons, like lesson one. It was more like just it was infused into life, like how to hold your cup and your saucer and how to sit, and that's what, she taught me that. And let me tell you something that came in handy. I mean, I'm whatever now for the most part, but moving in certain circles, yeah, it helped. It made people very curious about me because they heard I grew up at a certain place, and my name is a certain name, but I don't seem to act that way. And by the way, these people I'm talking about were the black people who grew up in certain bougie areas. What they were accusing me of, they really lived that life. Yeah. Anyway, because for most of you in your society, death often takes place out of sight. It has become the enemy, something alien to be dreaded and feared, but it isn't so in other cultures. And that's something I have had to do a lot of work on. And honestly, coming into Samhain, I'm probably I need to think this out a little bit because I kind of want to do some more work. I might recheck that book I had on mediumship, to just kind of immerse myself a little bit more and kind of challenge myself around my thoughts on death, my own, and what that looks like, and making maybe some lists. I'm a list maker, making some lists on like, what do I want? How do I want my remains to be handled? I mean, I've thought about this and I have some ideas, but I like writing it out and just kind of making myself deal with it. If anything, this is not like official paperwork to hand to my kids, but more like for me, to just think it out and write it down. It gets real when you put it on paper. But some of the things that she suggests are grave tending. If you have someone who's buried, a loved one that has passed away and they're buried, she was saying, take some time on Samhain to visit and tend to their grave. Remember, we're in the autumn season. And then ancestor altar. Another Samhain activity to help you connect with your dead loved ones is to make an ancestor altar at home. Boom. I'm going to be definitely improving mine. As another thing that I'm doing around the concept of death. I speak to my ancestors too, my dad and son more frequently than uncles and aunts. Yeah, she came through to me. I remember because I was like, am I just, how you're in that moment and you're like, am I making this up? Or is she coming? And I was like, no, she came through. She came through. But yeah, I had another aunt who was not a great aunt, but she died young. She was on like 31, 32, I think. Left young babies when she died, unfortunately. That was many years ago. All her babies are grown now. That was a tough one. It makes me wonder about the ancestral realm, just from my own personal experience. So this aunt came to me right after she died. And that's a custom that a lot of people talk about, where there's someone in the family who the recent dead visits, whether it's a child, it could be an elder, it's someone who is basically open to spirit, and usually through a dream. And this is usually within the first week of them dying. So she came to me, and I remember a very interesting turn of events. My stepdaughter died, like at very young ages. Well, she was only like 24, I think. Left a baby as well, and within a week after her death, my daughter got the visit. And these dreams stand out to you, and we're not special. This is something I would learn that it's actually extremely common, where there's within a family, there's someone who's going to get this visit through a dream. This is not going to be a dream like any other dream you've had. It feels like real time. It does not, you have the presence of mind of understanding it's a dream, but there is a realness that you typically don't get in your other dreams. You can feel the difference. The person usually comes through a door. They're not just there. Usually they've entered. That's a key point. They've entered your space, usually at your home or someplace that's considered safe and at a home. They come in, but it's usually where you physically are. Like, it's not some old house. It's very present. So, with my aunt, when she died, she came to the home that I was staying at the time was my boyfriend's. I was living with my boyfriend. She came to his home, knocked on the door in the dream. I opened it and I was very surprised to see her standing there because she had never been to his house before. My daughter, when she had the dream of her stepsister, she knocked on the door, she let her in, and she had never been to visit us there yet. We hadn't lived in that space very long. Very interesting phenomenon that happens after somebody dies, but there's somebody. Now, here's the thing. You might be thinking, well, I don't know that that's true in my family. Not a lot of people talk about these dreams. Some people just chalk it up to being a dream, but you should share these dreams because there's usually something there. There's something for you, and there's something usually for you to share with your family. My daughter, obviously, I know because she shared it with us. And it was comforting because I understood what that meant. It's the final goodbye. And it's always interesting who gets picked. It's not about them being the closest because there could be someone they're very close to, but open spiritually is the key. Because we live with a lot of us who have very religious relatives, they might reject this. The dreams came through, they rejected it. So you might not have gotten the knowledge, but I don't know what to do about that. I share it. Even if you don't want to hear it, fine. I'm gonna tell you anyway. Look, Aunt so-and-so came through and said XYZ. She said to look over here. She told me to tell y'all this. And I'm done. I did my part. But that's just me. So yeah, that's definitely something I'm going to be working toward is my ancestor altar. I'll probably be doing a video on that too. Really kind of, I've really struggled with the physical space because I don't feel like my ancestor altar needs to be a space, because when I work with them, I could be laying down and I'm called at night, in those nights where my brain is racing and I just need some peace, I call out to them. I send them gratitude, and I don't ask for anything. Sometimes I'm just happy to just know that they're protecting me, and I say so. When I'm here working in this space, I work with them and I'll leave offerings in the space that I've carved out on this desk when I'm working other things. So, but I don't necessarily want to have a space dedicated here for my ancestors, because the things that there are other bigger offerings like a plate of food or a glass of wine. It would take up space here, so I would want to have it someplace else, but I don't know. So basically my whole house, it's a moving altar for my ancestors is the point. Yeah, so she goes into the thing about the food and cooking. Witches know the power of magic spells and how cooking can be just that. Yes, my daughter is the dreamer. They just talked to me. Glad you can relate. Okay, yeah. That really shocked her because she always knew. I told her about the dream I had. I was pregnant with her. When my aunt died. So my aunt would have been, if she was, like I said, 31, 32, I was like 21. I was 21 and pregnant. I can't believe I was 21 and pregnant, but anyway. Oh, that's a whole other thing. But anyway, 21 years old, and I'm pregnant with this little girl. Very early pregnant. I was like first trimester, like a couple months. And my aunt died. And I hadn't even told anybody I was pregnant yet. Yeah. So it's interesting that she was growing inside of me when I had that happen. And then all these years later, she was 20 plus. Let me think. Dang, I don't know how old she was probably close to, if she was 24, then I think, don't let me find out that my daughter was 21 when this happened, because I think if my math is math, then I think she was about 21, 22 maybe when the same thing happened to her. Oh, wow. Funny how things are like that. But anyway, she goes on about like food and like roast, like recipes and stuff like that. Not a lot of that, like spiced hot cider. Um, and just forming healthy relationships with food as you're aging, and she's giving a lot of grace for the fact that it's like, look, I want to eat what I want. I don't feel like trying to figure this out. I just want the pleasures of this food and keep it pushing. And she acknowledges that, because that's real too. um it is what it is. So, and then there's a connecting with water in autumn. Water, the element of autumn, if you didn't know, teaches us so many things about life: how to flow, how to express strong emotions in the container you were given, this, um, how to change shape from river to droplets in the air to clouds to rain to river water again. So just that flow. And when you're going through it like this, you kind of, it's a pro. If you get to live a longer life, you eventually go through these processes, and you kind of want to be a little bit more fluid with it. You don't want to be, afraid, and afraid to look at mirrors because you don't like the evidence that you are aging. You got to start to find the beauty in that. And that is so hard when everything in just your everyday waking life, without you even thinking about it, the subliminals are there, where they're constantly obsessed with youth culture. And it's sick and it's crazy. And also, as you just go about your life, let me tell you something. To walk into an area with a bunch of younger, when I say younger, just like, we'll just say 20s and 30s, to walk in, and you can be just ignored. Like, they just don't see you. When you get to the early 20s and teens, they don't see you at all. They only see you if they think you might get, like, witness something not supposed to be doing. But for the most part, they don't see you. They literally, they don't see you at all. Kind of like that thing where with, I was recently watching something, somebody's video, and they were talking about, as a Black woman, like in a workplace, or like when you're in a store, this thing where you, especially, like, not especially, but like with like older white people here in America, that is, like, they'll just, not even older sometimes, but they'll just like bump into you, like they don't see you. And she was exploring the fact that maybe they really don't see you, because this idea of I don't see color, well, if you don't see color, you really don't see me, do you? And it's intentional, it's willful ignorance, because something can be done about it, but you have to be open to challenge your biases and your thoughts on that. And unfortunately, as people get older, they're not always wanting to do that. So instead, you have incidents where you're at the store and you're at the deli counter and you picked your number, and you are waiting, and someone who has a number that they've already skipped by comes up, but they just called your number, and they want to, and you're standing there, and they just start talking. Yeah, this is a real experience. And they just start talking as if you did not just engage the person behind the counter, interrupt. They don't even acknowledge you. They just start talking, say, oh, my number was missed, as I'm talking to give what I would like. Talk over me. This happened, this incident was once, but I've had a very similar situation happen as well. And I'm just like, they were both very elder white women that did this. And they visibly saw me because I'm standing there. Everybody else saw me. And I remember that one time I did look over, I said, well, you missed your turn, so you should get another ticket. It's not because I'm mean, but because they came in so hot. Like, you just, like, I'm the type of person, I would say, oh, well, go ahead anyway. I don't, go ahead. But no, I like the way they came in, so no. And it's really rude when the person behind the deli counter decided to actually engage with that person and then ignore me as well. But anyway, that's a racist thing. Not necessarily an ageist thing, but that's another thing. That, by the way, another fun thing, just walking around being somebody who looks like this and you're aging, it's like a double ignore thing. Yay! And then the appendix has magic. Section is called Magic Helpers, and they have it set up where you have these different sections and then all these correspondences. So let's say it says here abundance, colors: gold, green, silver, gemstones, aventurine, emerald, green jade, goddesses, Lakshmi, Rosmerta, and Tyche, Tyche. I never really was sure how to pronounce that. Herbs and foods: allspice, basil, black eyed peas, cinnamon, collards, ginger, lentils, mint, thyme, incense, essential oils, allspice, cinnamon, clove, ginger, nutmeg, orange, spirit animals, ladybug, turkey. Turkey for abundance. Yeah, I get it. And ladybug, we know about ladybugs, right? They're like the good luck thing. But anyway, so that's the section for correspondences per subject. So there's something for like peace, protection, healing, happy home, all that sort of stuff. This book is chock full. Purification, wisdom. Definitely worth adding to your, I got this at Barnes and Noble. This is definitely worth adding to your Witchy library. There's a lot of thought-provoking things. There's things to journal with. There's things to make. There's things that you can make into ritual or spell and stuff like that. A lot of anecdotes, a lot of just good quotes and the poetry and the imagery, as well as not a lot of imagery, but what it is really solid. So definitely add this. And I have just been talking and talking. If you can't tell, I really enjoyed this book. It made me think about things I don't want to say I wasn't dealing, but maybe I needed to think about them. I needed to on my terms, think of these subjects that are not very comfortable, so that I wouldn't be in a position where, I was forced into thinking about it, but because coming from a place of lack or insecurity or something like that. So I've kind of faced it head on. And I will continue to face it because I'd like to continue to live. So as long as I'm living, I will continue to age. Such is life. That's how it is, right? All right. So thank y'all. Thank everybody for watching, for interacting, for talking. I really appreciate it. If you are someone who is in the Discord channel, Leave Taken is a safe place for witches. I had been for months now doing, I brought like basically we get together on Sunday and work on our planners and Book of Shadows. So I'm going to discontinue it because it's just not a lot of people joining and coming in at that time. And maybe I'm picking a bad time. I'm in Arizona time, which happens to be on Pacific Standard Time, which is like California time currently. So I don't know if I'm just making wrong times. I don't know. I don't know what my deal is. I don't know. Nobody's telling me, but I'm going to stop that. I have instead started just showing the videos I brought back, planning / it'll be planners, and then eventually you'll see I'm adding like Book of Shadows and pages and stuff like that as well. The goal is for those videos to go up on Sunday, but I have literally had a problem since I announced it on a Sunday when I tried to post it, but the intention is for those videos to come out on Sunday and not Monday for the week. So hopefully this weekend that will not be occurring. It will post like it should. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that, and I'm going to put a note there. Not that it was such low turnout. I don't think not many people are going to miss it. But anyway, so I'll have a video instead. Ideally, what I was thinking about is taking that on a live. And I'm trying to figure that out, like on Sunday, like a live planning, like when I do my Book of Shadow pages as well. So I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking about doing a live. I see other people do it. The only thing with that is that could go on for so long. Like I could be talking for a while because I'm like taking my time. I edit the other stuff and make it go faster for you guys, but I don't know. I'm thinking about it. But for now, there's gonna be a recorded video for this coming week, this Sunday, tomorrow. So I'm done. I'm done talking. I'm gonna go do something crone like, and I don't know, go. I want to make my house smell good. So I think I'm gonna put some oranges and lemons and cinnamon on. I'm feeling very fall. I want those scents on my house right now. So I'm gonna go make a simmer pot. So thank y'all for watching. Don't forget hit the like, the subscribe, the share, and all that jazz. It helps. All right, I'm done. All right, bye.